Hi, my name's Sherri Sanders and I'm a County Extension Agent in White County, and we're in the White County Extension Office. And today I'm going to teach you a fun way to reuse your kitchen scraps. Worms can be your friend in your garden. So one of the best ways that we can reuse our kitchen garden scraps is by letting the worms do what they're very best at and help to turn our scraps into what we call black gold. The first thing you need for this easy vermicompost bin is a container. And I just went to my local store and bought an opaque, we don't need a clear one, an opaque 18-gallon size container or tub, and it needs a lid, of course. And before we get ready to kind of compile all of our stuff into our bin, we need to do some things to this bin. We need to drill some holes. And so we're going to do that for ventilation, and then we'll do some in the lid as well. So let me go ahead and start around here. All right, now we've got our lid done, lots of holes in it, and then you can see the sides of our tub and the bottom of our tub. So we want to make sure that we have drainage down here and of course good air ventilation. And it might need some more holes at some point. You'll be the judge of that as your compost bin begins to mature and become a home for your worms. So the next thing we're going to do is talk about filling our compost bin, and we're going to layer that in there just like a lasagna. I start with moist shredded newspaper. So I've got some here from the office that we've shredded up, and then I put it into some water, and we want it to be moist. We don't want it to be wringy wet, so it's like a real sponge that's been wrung out really well. So we're going to layer that in the bottom. Worms absolutely love that because it's loose and it's easy for them to get around in and maneuver. So we're going to put a layer of that in our tub. You want this bedding to be like a wrung out sponge, not too wet, not too dry. The other layer that I like to put in our vermicompost bin is compost or even just garden soil. Those worms need the grit that's in that so that they can help grind up and decompose these food scraps. So I've got some compost here that I'm going to put in. So I'm going to layer that in on top of our slightly moist newspaper, shredded newspaper. The best worms to use for this are red wigglers. I went to my local bait shop and I got red wigglers. And these have been in the refrigerator because that's how they ship them and they preserve them. And so I've let them set out for about an hour before we started making our vermicompost bin. And so we're going to put those worms in here and let them explore their brand new home. A tub this size says the recommendation is 500 worms up to 1,000 worms. And so I'm just going to put them in here. See them? Now, like I said, red wigglers are the best one. They are compost monsters. They really go to work and do well. And so I've already thought about if I have an overpopulation. I have a stock pond at my house, and me and the worms are going to work on the catfish population in the stock pond, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to do that. So these are our worms, and they're going to find their new home. This comes the fun part, and this is what makes it a success at your house. You need to keep your compost bin close to your kitchen. So mine's going to live in my garage, right outside my back door in my garage, because it's a cool, dry place out of the blaring sun, and it's going to make it easy for me. So one of the best things that I can tell you to do and to put in your vermicompost bin is kitchen scraps, fruit, vegetable. We can even do coffee grounds. We want to stay away from dairy type foods and greasy foods and meat or bones, because that creates an odor that you don't want in your garage or wherever your compost bin is going to be. So as you can see, I've got some carrot scraps that we're going to put in here. And when we put them in here, I try to just add to one end today and the next end the next day. I don't just scatter it everywhere because we want our worms to go and kind of converge on that to eat theirs. So we're going to put them in here, and I'm going to put them on top of the soil so you can see that. And then we always want to bury our treasure. That helps our worms go down lower and go to work. So we're going to go ahead and apply these things to our bin. You can also add coffee grounds to your vermicompost bin with the paper filter. It'd probably be a good idea if you tear that paper filter up, because that's just like the newspaper we've put in there. And on that newspaper, I forgot to mention, please don't put any of those real slick, colorful advertising things in there. Just put the bare bones newspaper after you've shredded it. So we're going to go ahead and put coffee grounds in there. Coffee grounds, though, if you put too much, like if you put some in there every day, it can bring the acidity level up and your worms won't be happy. So I would probably say do this once a week, but no more than that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to tear up my filter. The other thing I want to tell you is when I take this to my garage, I'm going to set it in a boot tray or up on bricks or something under it, because it will weep moisture. And of course, I don't want that mess in my garage. So we're going to do that. Also, when you are, as a precaution, when you're adding your stuff, don't get it too wet. Now you're going to have to put some moisture in there, especially during the hotter months, to kind of keep that environment. But too wet is a bad situation because it can have fungus grow and make it a bad environment for your worms. So you can just continue to add layers, and then your worms will compost this material, and then out will come black gold and a brand new set of worms you can use in your stock pond if you want to, or you can have enough worms that you can start another vermicompost bin for your friend or your neighbor.